frame of mind I'm in now, actually, mate, to be honest.
Okay, so we're down here at Chai Cycle with Paul Saville. This man is running for Bristol Mayor 2016. That's pretty big, man.
You alright? How's it going?
Yeah, man, it's nice to meet you, man. Me and you've been friends now, what, a couple of months, I'd say, working on bits and pieces, doing Ask Why and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I thought I'd come and get this for the show and also for your channel, man. So
okay,
let's start at the beginning. Why do you want to be mayor?
Okay, so I never imagined that I was going to do that. You know, I didn't ever feel. I've never really been interested in politics in a kind of official sense, if you know what I mean. I've been an activist for nearly 10 years.
Okay.
And over many causes, not just in Bristol but international. You know, human rights mainly, but environment, local politics as well. But yeah, like I want to make a difference. Really, that's the kind of crux of it. If you get to the nitty gritty, it's about making a difference. And
making a difference.
I had a few friends say to me, "What are you doing? Why are you?" Do you know what I mean? It's like joining the dark side or something like that. And it's easy to recognise that is. Yeah, that can happen.
It's because politics is a dirty game, though, isn't it? It's not just like you can't just go into it and expect to be clean. You may have to get a bit dirty to do good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's that funny thing, isn't it? I think like for a long time, politics has become quite a dirty word, you know. Like it's linked to corruption and abuse, or you know, the paedophile scandal or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but really, I think the kind of what's happened is for a long time we've felt like actually politics has nothing to do with you, Yzer. It's nothing to do with me. It's to do with it. We'll sort it out. We'll do it in the corridors of power, and you don't think about it. Just pay your tax, and we'll do the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
what I think with the internet and everything else that's happened is that actually that's turned the whole thing on its head. Now people are able to do stuff off their own back. Even you doing this film now, you know what I mean? Whereas the television channel pumping out their stuff, now you're actually turning that upside down, a triangle, you know, like that. That's
the beauty of YouTube. Now we got, instead of the media lying to us, we can have our own media now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can actually tell the truth online and put it out. That's why I started the Ask Why movement in the first place, you know, to get some truth out there.
Yeah.
And you've been an avid supporter, man. That's why I wanted to get behind you this May. That's why I wanted to get this interview out.
Yeah. So essentially, just to answer you in a quick kind of form, is my way of reason running for mayor is to kind of get people to speak their truth.
Yeah.
To tell the stories that the media aren't talking about, the politicians are too scared or too dishonest to talk about, and actually to try and solve some of the issues that need to be solved in Bristol.
Okay. Yeah, man. That's wicked. So what do you think the main concerns are in Bristol that need to be dealt with?
Housing is the biggest thing.
With the homelessness, that was going to lead to my next question. What do you intend to do about homelessness in Bristol?
Okay, so just on that first issue, really. I mean, I was chatting to a guy who's been homeless for the past like 6 months or so, right?
Okay.
And we were talking about, you know, he was saying, you know, you don't think about like what your dreams are anymore when you're homeless. You talk about where's the nearest toilet, where you're going to sleep tonight, and where you're going to eat. You know.
Absolutely, yeah, man.
And anything else is kind of luxury. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah, man.
If we don't have those fundamental basic principles met, then how can you ever expect to grow as a person? And that affects society as well.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you.
So the housing thing for me is a big thing, but that's also linked to inequalities in society that affect everyone, you know.
That's right. So what do you think, because there's a massive rise in homelessness in Bristol, especially in Bristol now. Bristol, it's getting worse and worse every day.
Yeah.
What do you think is the contributing factor, or one of the contributing factors to homelessness rising?
One of the biggest things in Bristol has been a lack of social housing.
Okay.
That's one thing, and actually reducing the numbers of social housing. We've also seen a massive surge in population in Bristol, because Bristol's a cool place to live.
It is, it's a lot. I love it here, yeah.
And I've had a lot of friends come from London, well, everywhere, but London especially, who are like, they're basically going, I can't live in London no more. It's mad, it's expensive.
Yeah. I've had a friend come over from Barbados to live because it was too hectic there, you know what I mean? I like it here.
And there's nothing wrong in that. But what we do need is to start looking at, like, you know, empty buildings in Bristol.
Yeah,
who owns property and what are they used for? I mean, you look around here right now, you've got Premier Travelling, right, up there.
Yep, you've got the Premier Inn building.
Right, you've got a 5-star hotel being built down there, on the harbour side.
Jesus.
You've got a new Premier Travelling being built down there.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Hilton Hotel built round the corner here.
Yeah, the Marriott as well.
Just here to your right, literally immediately.
Yeah, literally right there. You've got the Holiday Inn there, yeah.
And then you've got the Cabot Circus Hotel as well.
So you got the Holiday Inn there. Like, so you got the Cabot Circus Hotel as well.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking the other day.
Most of these rooms are probably empty.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you.
All these spaces could be for people. So again, it comes down to principle and what the society is built on, and what it stands for, and who it serves.
Okay, so what would you personally do to combat homelessness? What would your personal mission be? What would you do?
Yeah. I've been homeless twice myself.
Okay.
Once when I was 16, once when I was 17. Like I say, meeting those basic fundamental principles is key. So what we want to try and do is get those empty buildings. Actually, what Ferguson promised before Christmas, 19 days before Christmas, he said by Christmas Day we'll have these open buildings. These buildings open.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not open.
No, still closed down.
There's been 20 beds open at the Jamaica Street, the Compass Centre. But that's all. That's it. That's the only change in the provision. In terms of the open buildings, nothing's happened.
Technically that is progress, but at the same time, that's not enough. Not with Bristol. 20 doesn't even scratch the surface.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Get those buildings open tomorrow morning, Yzer.
I like that. So man. So you'd say maybe start getting some funding towards these closed buildings, get them open up, get the homeless in there. Yeah. I'd be saying a lot of people in Bristol talk about that quite regularly. I have this conversation at least twice a day. Like, why don't we use some of these empty buildings? Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's brilliant, man.
One of the things as well, because I've been a squatter in Bristol and in London.
Okay.
And there's lots of misconceptions about what squatting's about and the type of people that live in squats. Now, all of the squats I've ever lived in have been fantastic spaces. People have looked after them, actually, and look after each other as a community.
Okay.
That has been taken away by the Tories. So now, without that platform for people to build, for people to self-organise, essentially what you've got is kind of a dog-eat-dog situation going on the streets, which is actually really dangerous and actually not a very pleasant place for anyone to live in, whether you're homeless or not.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place, you know what I mean? I was down here a couple of weeks ago. I think I came down to see you, and literally as I was leaving, I found some kiddie who just got battered. What happened to you? I just walked through St. Paul's and freakers jumped me from my hoodie. That's all. I mean, it's crazy around it. It's like that. It really shouldn't be like that. But what can you do?
Yeah.
Well, that brings me to my next question, which is about the crime rate in Bristol. The crime rate in Bristol, it goes up and down. Sometimes quite calm, but then you'll see a massive surge. Like recently, we've had shootings, we've had stabbings. Yeah. We had people car chase not so long ago.
Yeah.
What do you think is the reason for the crime rate rising, and what would you do to combat it?
So one of the biggest things about crime is the big question is, what do we mean when we say crime?
Because that could be anything. Yeah, it's true.
Because there's corporate crimes going on right now, which are pretty much invisible.
Absolutely, man.
And for example, there's a girl down the way called Lily. I've just been introduced to her through Facebook and stuff. Now she's been selling her art on just out on the street. No bother to anyone. A talented artist by all accounts, and by just looking at her work, it's fantastic. People have actually been buying off her. Now she's not begging; she's offering a service. She's providing something
selling.
for the community.
Man.
I think that's completely. Not only is it legitimate, it's something that should be supported.
Well, I mean, look at the crackheads and the junkies that use homelessness as an excuse. There's people that actually got these hostel places and they live in them permanently, and they're begging for the drug money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So she's doing art.
So she's doing her art thing, right? And I think that's something to be celebrated. Now, what's happened in the last 48 hours is she has been approached by the police. They've said, move on, you're not allowed to do this anymore, and we're taking her art, and according to what it says on the Facebook post, her work's to be incinerated.
Yeah, it's been destroyed. Yeah.
Her artwork.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's not right.
It's disgusting. How can you?
What I said to this PCSO, Yzer, right? This is the mad situation. I said to this PCI, I quite assertively, not aggressively, I said, when are you going to be going into Boots and looking into their tax records? Because Boots, Vodafone, etc., have been evading UK tax through the loopholes for years, for decades, right? They've been doing it, and it's on our doorstep.
Yeah.
And the copper said to me, but it's not my jurisdiction, it's not my job.
Yeah, but it's the right to pester a homeless person for doing art.
It's an easy target, isn't it? What was the question here? I've kind of gone off the top.
Oh yeah, basically, what with the rise of crime, what do you think it is? Why do you think crime's gone up, and what would you do to combat crime?
Yeah. So, personally, I'm not a massive fan of the police.
No, me neither. Yeah, fuck the police.
So that's my honest feeling about it. However, the other day, for example, there was a girl who was being pinned up against the window.
Oh, really?
By the full moon. The girl was being abused by this guy, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Not just on that example, but for years she ended up opening up to me and telling me I called the police because I didn't know what else to do. I was like, this girl's been like, do you know what I mean?
Pinned up against the wall.
I don't want to get involved in it, but I'm not going to stand there and do nothing about it as well. So I ended up calling them, and I think there is a role for the police in society. We're not at a position where we can say there's there's no role for them. But they do need to be reminded of like what their role is. It's to serve people.
They seem to think that it's more of a like they're in charge. They're here to bully us and keep order. I mean, technically, they're here to keep order. I completely agree. That it is their job to keep law and order in the streets, keep it peaceful. But at the same time, they use bully tactics, which is stupid. I mean, look at that girl, like you say, with the girl with the art. She's lost that, and to me, that's a criminal act. That's theft. You've stolen from that woman. You've stolen her art. And these people will never be brought up on charges.
Your questions are really good. And I think they're really good because I don't profess to have all of the answers to them.
That's good though. That's the best way to be. Maybe we can revisit this next week. I can come down, film you again, and get some different views on it.
So, but no, I mean, it's not an easy question to answer, and I don't think it's easy to say, oh, we just do that and it's all sorted. But we can start to actually allow people to have pride in their environment, for example.
Absolutely.
And to look after each other, and that can be very little simple things. We live in a dog-eat-dog world. It's about what you wear and the capitalism and the money.
Literally. I was going to say that.
We're taught at a very young age to be like,
dress a certain way, look at people look a certain ways. Like, I mean, I sometimes, like, I was talking about homelessness on my Ask Why episode a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying at a young age, you're taught, oh, stay away from him. He's a tramp. He's smelly. And it's horrible and stuff. And it's like, but and through the years, I avoided homeless people. It wasn't until I became homeless myself that I learned. You know what I mean? So it depends how you're programmed as a young child, I think.
It's a deep question, and I think the crime thing is, I mean, basically, if you think about it, all crime pretty much is to do it's linked with finance.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
If you go back to the root, why do people, I don't know, throw a brick into a car and rob the stereo?
Because they needed money.
A crack addiction. Or,
so would you say that's part of the rising crime, lack of funds or drug addiction, or?
Well, I mean, personally, I've noticed more cars being smashed in through when I go home. On a day-to-day basis over the last 5 years.
Oh shit!
Now, I studied criminology at uni, so I am interested in what do we mean by crime and how do we solve it and everything.
Well, I see, like you say, crime can mean many different things. I mean, certain people can say, going to buy a bag of buying a bag of weed is illegal. That is a crime, but a lot of people think that's ridiculous. That's not a crime. You know what I mean? But that's it. But we'll skip on for that one anyway. So I don't know if you've done a lot of research into the NHS recently. I mean, we had a conversation the other day about Jeremy Hunt on Facebook. So as I say, it's a big crisis right now. What would you do about it? I mean, I don't know if you can do much as a mayor personally, but what would you do to try and improve it in Bristol, perhaps? What would you do?
What, the NHS?
Yeah. What would you do to try and solve the issue?
Again, like you just mentioned, if I was elected mayor, then I wouldn't have any kind of
you don't take our power on that as such.
Like
No.
But the whole reason, going back to the kind of basic reason why I'm running as mayor, is to actually not to dictate to Bristolians about how Bristol should be run, but actually to empower Bristolians, to engage with them, and actually hand the power back to the communities and your streets and your neighbourhoods, workplaces and schools. So if I was elected mayor tomorrow, I'd be carrying on doing the same things that I'm doing. Well, not the tricycle, because I'm really focused on the mayor, but I'd be doing the same way that I do anyway.
Of course.
I wouldn't, anyway, but the NHS thing, I don't know. I mean, we need to defend at all costs.
Taking it away is daft, isn't it?
Go to some country. I mean, to India, If you don't have, if you're on the street, you've got no money, you don't have any healthcare.
It's the same in America now, isn't it? It's all privatised. If you ain't got money, you're screwed, basically. It's ridiculous. But just I just want a job using the NHS more than anything else.
Do you use the NHS?
I'm on with the NHS. My girlfriend also works as part of the NHS, it's a big deal for us.
So you know the value of.
Well, that's it. It's a very important thing, and it's a very passionate subject between the two of us, obviously, because she works within it, and we've lost family because of NHS. And this is one of those things. Like, my granddad was taken care of by NHS. They looked after him very well, but he still passed. But I appreciate them. It was a young doctor who was with him at the time, and he did everything he could. My granddad passed, and it wasn't his fault. We don't blame him. The cancer took it. You know what I mean? So it's a very passionate thing we like to talk about. So I was just talking to you about buying bags of weed, which is illegal. What is your view on the legalisation of cannabis in the UK?
Okay, so my personal take on it, in 2004, I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I ended up in a mental hospital in PAUL in Dorset. Originally, I was homeless twice. I was homeless once when I was 16 and once when I was 17. I spent a lot of my teenage years, from the age of about 13, smoking dope, and then eventually started smoking skunk. The skunk fried my brain personally. I was just one of those people that was a little bit, I don't know, something innate that wasn't, and I smoked a lot as well. I lost my mind or whatever, or found my mind or whatever you want to call it. But I ended up in a mental hospital. I was diagnosed with cannabis psychosis.
A friend of mine ended up in
I think that it's a lot to do with the actual strain. You know, with the THC levels and stuff, and it's grown under lights because
Yep, there you go.
people are trying to make cash, and it's again, it comes down to finance. It comes down to capitalism. You need to grow a lot of weed or whatever in a condition in this country that it wouldn't grow. If you go to Jamaica or you go to
It grows in the street, bruv. As you're walking down the road.
You go to Nepal, in the mountains.
Yeah,
in the hills.
well,
it's everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
But they use it in a different way. It's kind of like a medicine.
But it's so highly illegal in Jamaica. It's punishable by years and years in prison, where we're starting to get a bit more lax with it in this country.
I think in general, not just cannabis and not just weed and that, but in a general sense, we need to really look at like what the drug laws are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not serving anyone.
That's it. That was going to lead me to the second part of the question. That's it. I was going to lead that second part of the question. Do you think we should just legalise it for medical purposes, or do you think we could use it for recreational, or both, or should it remain illegal completely?
I think we should all have the freedom of choice to lead the lives that we want to live. Ultimately,
yeah, man.
And that can be like smoking weed or whatever.
As you do, yeah.
But all of the decisions we make in our lives can affect other people as well, and I think that's the big issue. Personally, I've never had or never seen a fight with two people who have had a smoke. That's the old story, isn't it? But you go down to the harbour side, for example.
Scraps all the time.
And you'll see it's like a pack of dogs running across the road against one. And what have they been doing? They've been
drinking alcohol, doing coke or whatever.
That's a nice taxable drug.
Yeah.
Like cigarettes, again.
Well, that's it. A friend of mine put something on his Facebook the other day which cracked me up. Big up Chris, by the way, if you're watching this, bruv. I know you like Ask Why. Is that he put this thing on Facebook the other day. It's like some guys going, "Oh, you're doing drugs," but at the same time they're saying that when I've got a spliff in my hand, he's sat there with a fag on and a beer. And so, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. The thing is, though, is the people that smoke weed, whether it's legal or not, if it's illegal or legal, they're going to smoke weed because
it's going to happen either way, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So actually, you're right. Actually, what's happening is it's just kind of a cycle that's never. The police, take the weed or whatever, or
go and smoke it themselves.
Personally, on the kind of levels and stuff, I think there's bigger issues and there's bigger kind of fish to fry. You know what I mean? In terms of the drugs, practically speaking, weed doesn't cause a massive social impact, but it can have a personal impact on people's lives. Whereas heroin has a personal effect and has monumental.
Could take your whole life away, basically. I've never seen someone rob.
Anyway,
that's it. I've never seen someone rob a TV, say, for a 10 bag of weed.
Yeah.
Where I've seen someone hold someone with a knife for a 10 bag of heroin or whatever. You know what I mean?
And just on a final kind of closing thing on that, I mean, I'm a big fan of Bill Hicks. And
Bill Hicks is a legend. Yeah, man.
He said basically, what you're saying, that nature's against God. It's against if God created everything or whatever.
Yeah, he gave us all this stuff.
You know what I mean? It's here, so it's here for a purpose. Again, I'm about moderation. If you go out with a credit card, right, every day of the week, and you go and buy Gucci shoes and blah blah blah, what are you going to have? You're going to have a problem at the end of the week. You're going to have no money.
A problem.
Yeah? It's an addiction. Anything too much is an addiction. And then it can lead to problems.
Absolutely.
So as long as you know what I mean, and it's personal decisions at the end of the day. Personally, I wouldn't smoke weed anymore because I know it's bad for me.
Because it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, but for someone else, maybe that's what they like to do, and I haven't got a problem with that. As long as you don't have a problem with what I'm doing.
Well, that's normal. That's it. It's normal.
And that's essentially what we have to try and do, is kind of navigate it so we're actually all kind of serving each other. We're actually looking after each other rather than fighting each other.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to leave my last couple of questions now. I'm quite happy with what you give me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But these are the last couple of questions. These are the biting questions. I'm really interested to see if you've got the guts to answer.
Okay, yeah.
So firstly, you've been leading quite a campaign against George Ferguson over the last year, maybe two, maybe longer than that, since I've been watching.
3.5 years, yeah.
Well, I've only known you the last few months, and I've only caught up with the last couple of years. What is your problem with George Ferguson?
Like I say, it's not even a personal thing, It's not even a personal thing. It's the attitude. It's the system. It's the arrogance and the ignorance of not just one person, but of a system that clearly doesn't care. Now there's an election happening, suddenly you see the politicians come out of the woodwork, and now they're actually talking about homelessness and housing and the police and everything else.
Well, so you just said that about how he doesn't care. I was down there with you last week when the Huskins was announced down at that sixth form, and you weren't invited, and George Ferguson didn't turn up.
Like
I say, a person who doesn't care. Does he think he's going to win just because?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the other candidates that are in the race?
Personally, someone said to me, you need to try and focus on Ferguson for this, that and the other, and I was saying, actually, do you know what? I'm not even that bothered by him anymore. He might win, he might not, but the real win is the process.
Okay.
Is solving the issues that we've been talking about in this video and more.
Yeah, of course.
And actually not just talking about them, but like solving them, getting them sorted for everyday Bristolians, and not just for a select group of people. Bristol's a growing city.
It is.
Ferguson talks about the city doing well. My question is, the city's doing well for who?
Yeah, for him. I mean, he put that 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on the road, then he got caught speeding. I think that's hilarious to me.
35 miles an hour.
Yeah, when it was on a 20 zone, which he imposed.
Oh, no, it was 30 actually. He was on dual carriageway. So it was 5 miles over.
But still, though, he imposed this rule on us, and he pushed it through and everything, and yet he can't even impose by the law himself. I think that's ridiculous.
So I mean, the Ferguson thing. Like personally, my kind of interactions with him have always been a little bit like. Not angry, this is the wrong word, but confrontational.
It's like so like you don't have a problem with him personally. You have a problem with his politics.
A little bit I do.
Okay.
I find stuff that's happened in Bristol that I found out about because I'm interested.
Of course,
Okay, so for an example, like the port down in Avonmouth, that was sold off for £10 million.
Oh really?
To two merchant venturer friends.
Oh wow.
Ferguson. Well. You could say he is still, but okay, he handed in his resignation to the Merchant Venturers, which is a society of businessmen in Bristol, right?
Right.
He sold that off, a public asset, to two Merchant Venturer friends in a secret meeting with no minutes taken.
Oh really?
That land is valuable land, and he knew that, and they know that.
Yeah,
they want to put a deep water terminal down there, so they can bring all the liners in. Farm foods are down there, as the biggest wine merchants in the whole of Europe. Their warehouses.
Right, I did some work over there. You know what I mean? The warehouse is big.
It's
huge.
Place. So basically, for me, you've got a little bit of a cartel running in Bristol.
Absolutely,
self-serving, whilst everyone else does really, really badly and struggles to feed themselves. And like we were saying earlier about these fundamental requirements, eating and having a shit somewhere. But they're talking about billions of pounds, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
So really my kind of issue with Ferguson is that he's not telling the truth. He's spinning, and he's keen to kind of serve his friends and serve
Do you reckon he's a bit of a puppet? Do you reckon he's being told what to say? He's a bit of a face?
I do. I think there's people pulling strings.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of feel sorry for him.
Yeah, because maybe he was like you once, wanted to do good and wanted to do well, and then he was.
Maybe overnight my trousers might just turn red. Do you know what I mean? We'll see what happens that night when the vote's cast and whatever, and is counted and stuff. Perhaps that's what happens. My hair will just start to fade a little bit.
Start receding.
My red trousers will start peeling down, and then I'll be telling everyone to F off.
Well, that's it. I mean, when there's other people behind you, you can be corrupted. It's money. Then you're trying to do good, but you end up doing more bad to do good, and then you look like a bad person. And he might have gone crazy.
I don't know if you've been following the American politics.
No, not at all, really.
A little bit, but it's this guy called Bernie Sanders, who's kind of the equivalent of Jeremy Corbyn for the Americans.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's talking about the stuff that Jeremy Corbyn's talking about, basically.
Right.
Which is really interesting. It's kind of this new wave of politics happening. Basically, when they asked him, "How are you going to solve all the problems in America?" And he said, to be honest, the corporations are running everything. How can I honestly say that I'm going to sort things out? And that's what I respect. It's actually saying, you know what, I can't solve everything, but we can make little changes. That's
really true. Yeah,
I'm not against Ferguson, but I'm for people, mate.
Absolutely, that's good answer. Well done. So we talked about George Ferguson. There's a lot of other candidates in the debate. If you weren't running for mayor, if you had nothing to do with it, and you had to vote for someone else, not George Ferguson, who would you vote for and why?
Okay.
Let's go past.
Personally, I'm not a political party person.
Right.
I find that it kind of corrupts the morals of good people, because there's lots of good councillors and lots of good MPs actually, but they kind of get tarred with the same brush because the system's sick, the system's ill. So you can have really good. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn is an MP. In my opinion, he's a good one. But the system that he works in is defunct. It's poisonous. It's dirty. The whole world's dirty. I mean, you're getting into a dirty game. Bristol politics ain't gonna be pretty. So I don't know. I mean, personally, I'm quite a fan of independence, because it's kind of you get what you see. You get what you see. You get what if they tell you something, and they're just speaking their truth rather than what the party's telling them. Is there many independents running this year? There's me. There's Johnny Rockard. You know him. I think there's UKIP are going to run it. Sorry, no, they're a party, aren't they? Actually? It's a party. So what else? There's independents. Oh, what's this, mate? Look, have a look. What's this?
Hello, mate. How you doing? All right?
What's
That's
that?
it, a man selling baskets, you know.
I was a basket. Oh no, I'm alright, thanks, mate.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
thank you anyway, man. Take care, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is the Bristol I love, you know, and everyone, you know, is actually trying to survive.
Yeah, man.
And that's like we were going on about the Lily girl earlier about selling her art. You know,
appalled by that, to be honest, man.
Huh?
Appalled by it. Appalled.
Yeah, you know, that's the issues we want to solve.
Yeah.
Why can't people trade in the street?
Yeah, why can't it be normal? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the police have hassled me, and it's like I said to him,
you were telling me the other day you got some hassle, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, he came to me. He said, "You allowed to be here?" I said, "Yeah."
No, got a license, didn't you?
Yeah, and he continued for a bit, and I said, "Look, I'm not selling crack or smack. I'm trying to earn a decent living." I said, "I've earned £14 today." I said quite assertively. I said, "Look, leave me alone." I said, "Seriously, leave me alone."
Yeah, man.
You know, and when I said to him about the crack and smack thing, I said, "I'm not selling crack and smack." And he goes, "What did you say?" He's trying to catch me out. I said, "Look, do you want a cup of tea or not?" I said, "If you don't, leave me alone."
Yeah, leave me alone.
And I said, "If you don't leave me alone, then I'm going to get my phone out and I'm going to film you." And do you know what he said?
He just walked
off. He said goodbye. And
off he went. Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I'm interested in, is people,
now, do you think, so obviously Jules Ferguson's in a bit of power, do you think maybe he has something to do with that, hassling you perhaps? Because obviously I heard you saying that he calls everybody that's in the race with him lunatics, and obviously he's aiming that at yourself and the other parties and the other independent people. Yeah. So do you think maybe he's causing these problems for
Ferguson's cracking, man. You know, it's clear, like, you know, 4 years ago when I first, 3.5 years ago when I first met him, he was very different to how he is now. You know, if you're going around starting to call people names and lunatics or F off, you're basically disrespecting not only them, but also the role that you're supposed to play, you know what I mean?
That's it.
So I don't know, I don't think, someone said that to me on the internet, they said, "Oh, it's probably something to do with Ferguson." I'm not really into it that much. I think, do you know what, it was an overzealous copper.
Just throwing his weight around.
He's probably having a bad day. And a shout out to him, you know what I mean? If he wants to come for a cup of tea and talk to me
Come and talk to about it, yeah, man. Leave your badge alone, leave your number at home, we'll have a little chat on camera, innit? We'll even hide your identity, man. Come and talk to us, we'll see what your actual problem is, innit?
Yeah. So your question then, what was it again?
I was going to say, we got away from that question.
I'm not a politician, I've dodged it.
You're just dodging questions. That's how I said about it. You're a politician that's trying to dodge, but no. Obviously, there's other candidates in the thing. Obviously, you say you're not a political party person, you respect the independents. Which other independent would you vote for if you weren't running? If you weren't involved in the whole thing at all and you had a vote with these other independents, who would you vote for and why? Who do you support?
Ferguson obviously out of the question for me.
Absolutely.
Tory, Charles Lucas out of the question for me. UKIP obviously out of the question. I'm left leaning. The Lib Dem woman is really nice, but I wouldn't vote for her just because I'm not into that. Into Lib Dems and stuff like that. I'm more into Marvin Rees, Labour Party. But I want to make sure that he's not just gonna. Well, I want to make sure that he's walking the water, not just talking the talk. You know. I've met him in a personal capacity. We went for a cup of tea and had a chat about stuff, and I think he's a nice guy. Whether he has the bottle to actually stand up for Bristolians and, like, you know, like he's talking about, you know, the public buses, taking it away from First and stuff. If he's got the bottle to do those things that serve Bristolians,
fair play. If he does that, I'm with him 100%. Fair play to the guy.
I would offer him my support.
Absolutely.
Conditionally, in that and that's the other thing. I'm quite into this idea of being able to recall people. If you come to me and you say this is what we're going to do, and then 2 months later you do the complete opposite or nothing at all, then we should have the right to recall you and say, actually, you're not doing what you said you were going to do. If you bought, I don't know, if you bought a radio and you plugged it in and it didn't work, you'd take it back.
Absolutely, you would.
Got a receipt. Hang on, I bought this, £50, DAB radio, it doesn't work. They'd have to give you a refund. Same as politicians.
I'm
if it don't work.
So obviously, I was talking about the Jeremy Hunt thing.
In a question, Marvin Rees, possibly Tony Dyer. I quite like him. The Green Party. I'm not like totally down with the Green Party, but I've met Tony Dyer. He's a working class lad from Southville, I think he's from.
Oh, he's from there, is he? Okay.
So for me, like, you know, it's a step in the right direction. I'm not a fan of party politics, but you know, I recognise that that's how things are operating at the moment.
Of course, well, you know, it's like...
I'm an anarchist at heart.
That's it. I mean, you're about the independents, and that's why I like you myself, and I don't agree with party politics. I don't even pay attention to what they do. I go for the independents, that's why I'm behind you.
Are you going to vote?
Yeah, of course I'm going to vote. Who am I going to vote for?
Yeah,
I can't tell you who I'm going to vote.
No,
I can't tell you my vote.
No, right.
Yeah, of course I'm going to vote.
Yeah.
I'm behind this movement. I'm 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm really proud of you, man. You've done a lot of research. Since I started Ask Why, you were like the first person to jump on board, first person to write into the show as well and offer your support and all that.
Just to say about this winning thing, in a way, I'm not even interested in who wins. Imagine it's somehow
you just want the change, innit? You just want things to change.
It's the process that's key. You know, it doesn't. In a way, it doesn't matter which, not puppet, but you know what I mean. Which person is in the thing?
Absolutely.
As long as they do the things that Bristolians are asking for and opening up to democracy and transparency and actually including people in the debate, not shutting them out and saying this is what we're doing top down. We want grassroots.
Yeah, man.
I was
talking about debates the other day. If the debates go and happen, everyone in Bristol should be given free tickets or video coverage or whatever, so we can all view it. We want to watch it all the time. We want to have a live phone line so we can have our questions answered. Even if it's a 9-hour broadcast, I want that to happen.
No one knows your area better than you do.
Exactly.
If I come to your area and say, well, I tell you what, we're going to put slides there. We're going to do that and do that. You'd say, no one's going to use them. Or,
exactly.
That road's always closed anyway, so it's
what's the
whatever.
Point,
what's the point? That's what I'm interested in, is devolving power to communities to empower themselves and not have this kind of top down. We've done it. It's not working. It's not serving people. But if it's not serving people, let's get rid of it.
Awesome, man. All right. So my last question for you is, what are your promises? What are your policies going to be? What are you going to do to Bristol if you get elected? What's going to happen if you get elected?
Yeah, so there's a few come out. I put on Twitter and on the Facebook page so far. One of the big things, a friend of mine, well, a few friends of mine have been campaigning for a place called the Bush Respite Centre, which is down in, I always forget the name. Is it Hengrove?
Quite possibly. I haven't seen it myself.
It's Hengrove. I think it's Hengrove.
We can always edit that out later if need be.
Yeah. Like a good politician.
Like a good politician.
Change my speech.
But either way,
so you know that place. But basically, it serves 15 families, not just individuals, families, children with autism. And it had 15 beds. They've cut that down to 7. That's a frontline essential service that's been cut, whilst other parts of the Bristol has been served very well. Culture, for example, right? And they make Sunday special. What I'm promising, one of the promises, is to reinstate the beds back at the Bush.
Okay.
For me, a society works on how it looks after its vulnerable people. You know what I mean? You can tell a lot about society about how it looks after disabled people, how it looks after poor people.
I completely agree.
That's one kind of key promise that I've made. The other thing is about inclusiveness. Like I say, getting people involved, opening up the debate. I know everyone doesn't use the internet, but a lot of people do. You harness that power, that capability to get people involved. You know, so that's another kind of promise, if you like.
So everyone's going to be involved at all times.
Essentially, that's the crux of the whole thing. Actually, which is holding my campaign together.
Yeah, the reason you're in,
pushing it back to the people, to the community.
Well, that's what it's all about. The reason
people decide.
The reason there's a government and the media is to protect us and look after us. Yeah, if anything, they're against us now. And we've got to fight for ourselves.
I believe in people. I think that people, I'm quoting Tony Bennett, but when there's a disaster or something, oh no, it's Russell Brand actually.
Russell Brand.
When there's a disaster happening, people look after each other. When the bloke yesterday was having a spice attack on the floor. Spice is this really weird drug,
I heard about that.
He was around the corner having a spice attack for 15 minutes. There was a crowd of people around him, put a blanket around him, looking after him.
That's cool.
When a disaster happens, people look after each other.
Yeah, man.
But we kind of been taught that, you know, it's dog eat dog and fight each other.
Fight each other.
You know?
That's why my music's like headed towards. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, your music's kind of fake, 'cause you're not from the hood." That's the whole point of my music. I'm not from the hood. I'm not from these rough streets. I'm from a clean living streets, but I witnessed all these things, and like I don't want to see that stuff keep happening. And a lot of these people who are in the hood and making the hood music, they're trying to get out of the hood as well. You know, it's not a glamorous life.
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to get across as well. You know what I mean? People ain't listening properly, but yeah. Anyway, Paul, thank you so much for your time. Man. I really appreciate you giving me this interview. I'll probably come to you again soon, man. Obviously for the show again. But everyone vote for Paul, man. Literally, he's probably going to be the best bet for Bristol. I'm fully behind him. Ask Why and the team are fully behind him. So that's it. This is Yzer UKG. This is Paul Saville.
Vote for yourself.
That's it. Bless up, Paul. Thank you very much.
Oh, man.